Nuevo Life, a study of incarceration in the penal system and lessons learned. After all, what I was then, I am not now.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Nuevo Life, a radio podcast series of true life stories about incarceration, release, and the future, shall we say, Nuevo Life, a new beginning. My first three guests on this inaugural show are Cody Willingham. He's under standard probation with ankle monitor and was charged with domestic violence. We have Adrian Marquez, who is on an intense probation known as IPS, also with an ankle monitor, charged with domestic violence. And Travis Moore, and a very interesting story with Travis, as you'll find out. But he's also in a position that is doing a lot of help and good for particular people who are going to be on this show of Nuevo Life, and you're going to find out why. But first of all, Cody, welcome, mate.
How you doing?
You were born in Fredericksburg, Virginia in 97. Grew up in Richmond and Charlottesville. Was that a nice country?
Yeah, it's nice out there. It's different from out here. You get snow. You get a little bit more wildlife, a lot of different people. The way people carry themselves a lot different out there.
Okay, you actually brought up by your mom, is that right?
Yeah, just my mom, and I had two brothers and a sister.
What about your dad and the other family?
Dad was never there. He's kind of missing in action. My other family, we're just not as close as we should be.
And did you notice this when you were young?
Yeah, I noticed it when we were young.
Yeah, did you feel a bit lonely perhaps with it?
Yeah, but like I said, I had my brothers and my sister, and
you mainly associated with them, didn't you? Two brothers, right?
Yeah, at the time that was enough.
Yeah, but weren't they already adults?
Yeah, they were older. I had a brother that was born in 81, and I'm 97, so he was 16 by the time I was born. And then I had another one that was, he's only 4 years older than me, so we were kind of close, not too far.
Did you look up to these guys?
Not my oldest brother, but my second oldest brother, he was more of a role model than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You eventually came out to Arizona, which we're going to come back on a little bit later, and that's what really started a different life. Adrian, hey, welcome.
Hi.
You grew up in the drug life, yes?
Yes, sir.
And how and what age were you introduced to drugs?
Well, I was introduced to that since maybe when I was in junior high.
Right.
I started seeing it, and then I would see my family members doing it or selling it, and I just seen it in between my whole life.
So you saw it as a kid?
Yeah, I've been seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Grew up around it. Going from Mexico to over here, the United States, and it's a whole different lifestyle out there.
Were your parents drug addicts?
No, sir.
Okay, but you started selling drugs at what age?
I started selling drugs about 12, 13.
It's pretty young, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you started carrying a gun at what age?
About 13, 12.
Now, let me understand. You're Hispanic?
Yes, sir.
And you were living over the border?
Yeah. Here and over there and over here.
Over here. Were you legal here in America?
Yes, I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, originally. Okay, then. Now, your parents were Hispanic. So, did you have an opening, per se, to be able to just go back over the border, get drugs? You saw there was a need for it here.
Yeah.
Right? People wanted it.
Yeah, this is where everybody wants is where the money's at.
Okay, but did you consider working?
Well, I was when I was junior high, I committed a mistake, you know what I'm saying? I taken a gun to school, and
so what happened at junior high?
I ended up pistol whooping a kid in the restrooms, and ended up getting caught for it, and went to juvenile prison for a couple of years.
Okay, so based here on what I'm reading, 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
In juvenile prison. What gets me is, did you really need the gun to get back at this guy? What did he do wrong?
No, it's just because he was bullying my friend, and
okay,
you know what I'm saying, and I had stuck up for my friend. But
so you wanted to help your buddy out.
I was still young, yeah. It's just that mentality. You know what I'm saying? I used to play cops and robbers in the neighborhood, and it was just my mentality.
Okay. And you took the gun in, and when you got a chance, you pistol whipped him, right?
Yeah, pistol whipped him in the restroom.
Did it do a lot of damage to him?
I didn't even get to see him. I just got scared and just walked into my classroom, and then the cops ended up walking in my classroom. And
So he must have gone out and gone to the
he had
headmaster or
told on
whatever.
me.
And bingo. Okay, so we're talking about selling drugs, right?
Yeah.
What type of drugs?
Whatever I could get my hands on.
And whatever people were asking
Whatever
for, I
people-
guess.
Yeah, whatever people want.
Wasn't it a risk going back over the border back again? How did you do it?
I would walk it through the desert.
Wow. And never be stopped?
I've gotten caught a couple of times. I got caught once, and I got deported. They didn't know I was an American, and and then the next time I got caught by the cops, just pulled over for regular reason. They got me and they questioned me because they had taken my fingerprints, immigration.
We're going to find out more about that because that would be pretty, to me, scary in its own right.
Yeah.
And you got cartels to worry about too, haven't you, and other people?
Well, that's for the people I was working with.
There you are. Travis Moore, he lived with his mother, father, 2 older sisters. What was it that happened when you were very young, Travis?
My dad was extremely abusive. About 2 years old, I was getting beat already, witnessing it. My mom.
2 years of age, and he's what, knocking you around?
Yeah.
Slapping you around, across the face type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you were 2?
2, yeah.
That's pretty young, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did he used to beat your mom?
He did, and my sisters. It got kind of bad. It got real bad, real fast, too. I kind of always went on the defense and tried to help as best I could.
Yeah, I don't blame you sort of thing. I mean, you're watching your mom, and why did he do it? Did he drink when he did this? Or?
No. To be honest, them type of people, I don't know. I don't get it. They just...
Mm-hmm. Just angry?
Just angry, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody near him.
You did whatever you could to stop him, really. You're just trying to be a good son, I guess.
Yeah, I tried. There was times when they were in the bar and I seen him dragging her across the floor by her hair, you know.
Wow.
So I would have to go run up and kick him and then run into my sisters and make sure that you know, they were okay, you know.
Mm-hmm. And try and stop him.
Yeah.
I guess... well, I mean, that's a pretty brave thing you were trying to do. You know, it seems to me that you got introduced to the violent world pretty early in life.
Yeah, I would say so. I kind of made, I guess, a vow. I guess I just told myself that I would never let another man hurt me or my family, you know. So from there on, I was just,
Right.
I was angry. You know, I was angry at every man, any man that would come near me or my family. I was fighting. You know?
So the older you got, the better you would have got then.
Yeah. I
Well,
definitely,
you learned young.
Yeah, I definitely started fighting very young in school, elementary, junior high. I was kicked out of junior high and ended up doing time over this assaults. You know, it got worse and worse.
Well, do you believe that this lesson of anger mixed up in with the self-defense? You know, do you think it scarred your life right there when you were young, or you know, I mean, did it? Other than prepare you for later on in life how to fight, do you think that psychologically it didn't really do you well, did it?
Well, I mean, it didn't do me well, but I guess everything that I've been through, I wouldn't take it back. You know what I mean? I've been through it for a reason, and it's gotten me to where I am. But I don't think it would scar me. I just it definitely prepared me to, you know, because.
Look after yourself.
Yeah, look after myself.
Well, your father was gone when you were 6. Your mom was working 2 jobs.
Yes.
Okay. And you made a move. Where'd you move to?
We went, what they call it, the white ghetto. I guess you can call it that.
I'd never heard of that terminology before, the white ghetto.
Yeah, it's
right.
a white ghetto. So it was a bad neighborhood. Again, fighting. She worked 2 jobs, so she, you know.
Tried to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I was out running amok. You know, I was just.
You loved your mom?
I did. Very close to my
Didn't you
mom.
think you were hurting her?
You know, you get older and you start seeing that you know, the more things you do and the more trouble you get into, you don't really realize it, but you're affecting a lot of people. You know,
Well, particularly ones you love and who are close to you.
Absolutely.
And you were obviously very close to your mom.
Absolutely, still am.
You have many fond memories, really, of just you and her growing up?
Oh, absolutely. I played football, Pop Warner football. She was a team mom. I mean, she was my sidekick, you know. She still is. I now take care of her. So
Okay. Cody mentioned before about bullies. You've got a story to tell about school bullies, right? I think it was second grade, yes?
Oh, yeah, I got bullies. I think that was a big part.
I think it was your first fight at school, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was probably roughly second grade or so. Again, I was witnessing what I witnessed when I was younger. I kind of just would protect people. I think that's where it came from. So it always, like, if I seen somebody getting bullied, I would protect them and I would jump, but mine got physical,
Right.
every time. So second grade, I would beat people up, all the way from second on up, and it just got worse.
Did you
and
pick
worse.
them or did they pick you
What do you mean?
to start these fights?
So it'd be times when my friends realized that I would protect them. I would be on their side, and sometimes they would start fights just to start fights.
Oh, my God. Right. They could call on Travis.
Yeah. Of course, it got worse.
And, of course, this all started with you protecting your mom with all the stuff you learned young, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it goes around. What happened in the fifth grade teacher? You told me something once there that I hadn't forgot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is rather unique.
So I would fight a lot. I mean, it was an everyday occurrence that finally the principal and my teacher told me that if I would just like go a week or, just try not to fight, just you'll get student of the month and we'll put your plaque up, and you get to go to a lunch. And of course it didn't happen. I still ended up fighting, and they still gave me student of the month. They did. I think it was more of that reinforcement. They were trying to.
But you tried. Good job.
Yeah.
No, you weren't that. You weren't that. But when you, did you think that sort of stuff was all crap? Student of the month? And
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really into school that much.
Okay, and what about lunch? That meant nothing, getting a lunch?
Yeah, really.
A free lunch?
Yeah, it really didn't at the time, yeah.
How do you feel at the time that your teachers treated you like a bully? Were you angry?
Yeah, because in my eyes, I was protecting, but some of my friends would take advantage of that, because I was good at what I did. I fought, and I fought well, so.
So unfortunately for you, though, Travis, this fighting now turned into an assault. Correct?
Yes.
And did this force you to drop out of high school, junior high?
Yeah, I was in there. I was in the first month of junior high, and I was already in 4 fights. So they had expelled me, kicked me out, and the high school just wouldn't even allow me there anyways. Junior high wouldn't allow me, so I just kind of went on and just started fighting more,
Right.
and ended up turning into on probation, and then you wouldn't go to school and that's a violation. Then you get into a fight and that's a violation. So it just kind of kept going and going and going.
Let me ask you this, if I may. Do you know that you had anger issues, or was it more, your teenage years? Do you think?
It was definitely my teenage years. When I went to juvenile prison, which we'll talk about, I did a Crossroads, which was an anger management, but up until then, I didn't think I had an issue. I didn't think that my father being the way he was affected me. I kind of put it to the side and didn't think about it. And that's the problem. Is a lot of times I think that me and other people don't want to feel that feeling, so we just swipe it to the side and
so you basically bottle up your emotions.
Yeah,
right?
And then you
don't talk about it, release it out. During community service, I think you were 14. This is an incident where a man was drunk and he was trying to go after your friend. Is that right?
Yeah, I was at community service. I was on probation, and he was a grown man, and he took a crowbar and tried to hit one of my buddies, and it turned south real bad. I ended up hitting him, knocking him on the ground, and just stood over him and beat him. And a bunch of cowboys from the Alano Club, the AA, they pulled me off of him, and I was covered in blood. And to me, that was normal, that was the thing to do, and it wasn't, even though he was in the wrong, I still feel, you know what I mean?
Again, you jumped in as the defensive defender.
Yeah, I did.
But you couldn't stop, perhaps, when you were belting shit out of him? What happened there?
You just kind of, I laughed.
You just kept doing it, huh?
I just got angry.
This gave you a year in Catalina Mountain School Youth Prison, right?
Yeah, I did a little over
for the assault, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The arrests and the court case, first time big big league for you. That big league.
Yeah.
How did you feel about all of that?
It was a little rough because, again, I wasn't away from my family. this long. So going to prison at, I was 15 or 16, just turning 16. It was kind of rough, but again, my mom was there, stood by my side, and was there all the time.
Is that the big sentence? That came a little bit later, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, my main sentence.
We're going to find out about that a bit later because it goes. I tell you what, listening to this, Cody and Adrian, everybody's got different stories to tell. I understand. You moved to Arizona in December, Cody, 2008 with your mom. Your dad had taken off. She started talking to this guy online, right, that she went to high school with, and they ended up starting a relationship. And he was the guy then that, did you like him? Did you get along well with him?
I didn't really know the guy, honestly.
Yeah, you were a bit too young for that?
He was her best friend's brother. Her best friend's growing up older brother. And they moved out here in like the 80s or something like that. And my mom just kind of always kept in touch with her friend, and she always had like a little crush on him growing up. So
right.
They ended up just changing numbers, talking.
Okay.
And
cool. So it was good for your mom.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And that started the move out to Tucson? What, he moved you out here?
Yeah, he flew out to Charlottesville. He helped us pack up where we were staying, and then we drove a U-Haul out here.
And you've told me that really this is where all your trouble started, right? When you moved to Tucson. How old were you again?
11.
11 years of age. What do you mean and what do you call trouble for an 11-year-old?
Well, before I moved out here, I was already smoking weed and just smoking cigarettes, which is, I mean, you think about it now, it's not really much, but as a kid, 9 and 10, that's kind of a little much. And then when I came out here, I had already known about harder drugs, but there's a lot more of them out here, so they kind of started floating around.
But you never saw this, or never saw your mom do stuff like this? She wouldn't do it like out in the open. She kind of kept it in her room and stuff like that. But if I were to walk in her room, she wasn't hiding it, Right.
Find paraphernalia.
What, just a bit of weed, though? A bit of a smoke?
Nah, she did harder drugs.
The harder drugs than that? So you were introduced to it at home, really, very early?
Yeah.
Okay. The drugs themselves then came around more and more, and you started to hang out with older people, is that right?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you do that?
Cause I grew up with my older brother, so I kind of.
So you felt what, a little bit more respected? Yeah, a bit cool to hang out with older people.
Yeah, I already knew what they were about and whatever, and I just felt like I was a little farther ahead than the people at my age at the time. They weren't really where I was at.
You grew up a little too early.
Yeah,
They were way behind.
Fast, yeah.
So here we are, 11, 12, 13, you're popping pills.
Yeah, at 13, I took ecstasy for the first time.
Ecstasy?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
How did you get that stuff? I mean, were you at school?
Nah, I wasn't at school. I was by the Foothills Mall over here, and I had a couple older friends in there, and they were big into it. They were probably 18, 19 at the time, and they were big into like the rave scene, and that floats around a lot over there. So
does it? Right. And what's perk?
Like a Percocet.
Okay, what does that do for you?
Tear you back, man. Honestly, I make you retarded. Honestly,
really bad stuff. And you went for that. When you say the drugs came around more and more, is this because you were hanging out with the older people?
Yeah.
And what was it that you were hoping to gain though from this experience at that time? Do you think?
I just liked living like that. It wasn't. It was appealing. It was fun. It was living fast and living young. Making the most out of it.
And I think a lot of guys do that.
Yeah.
Sitting with the older crowd, they do it to look and feel better. They're cooler. They're. I feel like that's a big
more
part.
accepted.
I mean, I've
sort of
done
thing?
it. Yeah. It's more.
Was it the same for you?
I mean, I didn't really hang around too many, but there was a times I started smoking at a young age, and it was because of older people. And you want to be cool. You want to. It's I guess peer pressure. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just kind of want to fit in. I guess
You are what you hang around.
Yeah.
A sense of belonging, right?
Like with me, it was almost the same type of lifestyle too, because I grew up seeing my brothers and his friends and my dad, so I started wanting to be like them. I wanted to be better than them because I would think I'm younger. I know I could do better than them. You know what I'm saying? So that was my kind of lifestyle. I wanted to be better than my dad, my brothers, and
You want to be better in the negative way.
in the negative way,
Yeah.
selling
Negative
drugs,
way.
making good money, and I just want to have those nice cars.
And you were what age when this hit home? I mean, were you dating any other young ladies?
Oh
or what?
yeah, I've had my wife since I got married when I was 17.
17.
18. I had barely turned 18 because that's when I had gotten out of that juvenile Catalina prison.
Really?
So I had turned 18 and got my girl pregnant, and her dad from Mexico too. So they, you got my daughter pregnant, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't like me because I was a neighborhood thug from the streets right there where I live at. At least
So what did he
at
do?
least
What did he
that's
say?
they
What are
would
you going
call
to do
me.
about it, or what? Are you going to marry my daughter? Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. So I didn't like at that time. Well, she was pregnant, so I didn't have no other choice. I was still young, and my family were there for me. It's just that I don't know. I guess it's just me. I just never listened to them. It's just I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Did you plan to come back to the States once you went back to Mexico? You were deported back to Mexico. Now, when that happens to someone, take us through the steps, if you will. What happened at the time before, they caught you, you got convicted, or then you're deported? What happens in the chain of things there?
What happened there is that I went to go pick up some bales of marijuana out in the desert by the border, and I ended up getting them and everything, and all of a sudden I was driving through the deserts, and then the Black Hawks started chasing us, and I just started running.
They got Black Hawks?
Yeah, we all jumped out of the trucks and started running out, thinking we were gonna get away with them because we had camouflage clothes and everything. So we would run.
So what
from
do you mean by that? You mean you'd hide in the bushes for a while?
Yeah, we would hide in the bushes.
Wait till dark, even if you had to.
Because there was times that we would get away. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But that one time I ended up getting caught, and you know what I'm saying? I was nervous. I'm an American citizen, so I was like, I'm through.
Where are these bales coming from? We're not feeding horses here, are we?
No,
I mean, when we talk about bales, bales are
like
huge.
bales of marijuana,
Yeah, but there were bales of marijuana.
at least 100 pounds each, 50 pounds, you know what I'm saying? 50 to 100 pounds each.
Street value, what, by the time you sold it?
It all depends, because we used to come maybe 5 to 6 people, and each person, you know what I'm saying, they would have
Right.
80 pounds, 70 pounds, 50 pounds. It all depends on the marijuana, what the quality is, you know what I'm saying? Because you can get...
But it's coming from Mexico.
Yeah, it's coming straight from Mexico.
And when you say out in the desert, bales, how far out in the desert, and which way would you go?
we were in the mountains right there by Sierra Vista. That's where I got caught, in those big mountains right there. And
Is that a
Straight
a
desert.
popular spot?
oh
Is
yeah,
it
it's
for
a
drugs to
popular
come through?
spot. It's not just drugs. They cross legals and
Yeah.
everything there.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, I mean, let's face it, you see a lot of stuff today on television and shows and movies and docos and miniseries and this and that. But the drugs, easy money, right? Risky, but
real
easy.
easy money. Yeah, real easy money. But you know what I'm saying? People think it's real easy, but
It's
If
easy
you
if you
think of-
like the risk.
if you think about it on the long run, look at me. I've been shot 16 times. Do you think that
Well, I was
a-
going to bring that up because I'm either talking to a ghost or this is the most unusual thing. I mean, listeners, if you were shot 16 times, right?
Yes,
With a
sir.
gun, 16
different
times.
types of guns.
Do you think you'd be here to talk about it? Good Lord, we're going to get onto that. But I'm just trying to understand, the lure of selling stuff. And did you have jobs offered to you? Did you try to work and go straight? Yeah, Mark, even if I did, it didn't pay nothing compared to what I could make doing the marijuana.
I actually did work for like a couple months, you know what I'm saying? But then at that time, I was already introduced to drugs, and I started doing cocaine at the time, and
Well,
they didn't let me go back to work after that.
okay, so we're talking about flogging drugs and the types of drugs, but smuggling it across the border, you got caught. They deported you back to Mexico. What happens here on your rap sheet? I mean, you're convicted here in America?
Yes, they actually deported me, and I stayed over there, went and ate some tacos, and spent my day, and I came right back. And then, but they didn't know I was they didn't know.
But I don't
my
understand that.
fingerprints.
How can they deport you if they didn't know you
I
were
gave them a
American?
different name and a different where I was from Mexico. So when I got caught here in Arizona,
right,
they ran my fingerprints and they ran them with the immigration. So on my paperwork, it comes out AKA Alien, the name that I used.
Okay, and there's just no match on the fingerprints.
No, they got me. That's why it comes out on my paperwork now.
Okay, I see. So, how did they deport you? Was it first class jet or the back of a
They took
truck?
me in a transport van.
Yeah,
I wish they would take me in a limo.
And where do you end up? What's a deportation over the border? How far in? Where?
I ended up right there in Nogales, Arizona.
That's it, Nogales.
Yeah, that's it. My dad lived right there. I got family there, so that's why I said
Hey, I'm
I
home.
went and spent the day there and came back.
Did you plan to come back to the States?
Oh yeah, of course. This is where my life. I grew up here, so
And when did you come back?
my roots. Huh?
When was it you came back? How long?
I came back the same day.
So, what happened a couple of years later then?
A couple of years later, you know what I'm saying, I kept going, and I ended up over in Mexico for a minute, and I started using those rochas.
Oh yeah, that was
back
big.
then. They used to call them date rapers.
Yeah, that was big.
And I used to smuggle those too across the border. And one day, I drank a couple of them before I crossed the border. And while we were right there, I ended up hitting a Mexican cop, knocking down his transmission, and took me to jail in Mexico. And then my dad had to go over there and get me out of there, you know, because my dad's from Mexico. Yeah.
When we come back to you, Adrian, I want to talk about how you shot 16 times the story. Maybe there's a little movie in there or something, a short one. Cody, let's come back to you. Let's talk about your lifestyle. I mean, how did you fall in with trap houses and selling drugs? And why did you turn to stealing and robbing houses anyway? What age were you then when this was going on?
I was going on 16. I moved in with my friend's dad. I got into a disagreement with my mom. She actually caught me doing drugs in her house, and so she kicked me out of her house. And so I went to where I was getting the drugs from. You know, at the time, it's just like I'm a kid. You know, like I got kicked out of my house because of the drugs that I got from you, and so they took me in, and it's just like. The homie's dad didn't really care how old you were. If you're staying in his house, you were gonna put ends in. You know, you're gonna make your stay well worth it.
So that you went into juvenile. At what age for the first time did you get into juvenile? And what was your last internment at that age then? You were 16, 17?
Yeah, I was 16.
16, 17, okay. And you're 18 now?
No, I'm 22 now.
22 now, okay. But you got out, I think you only did 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little under. It's just with...
Okay, so you're 18 then.
One bid or anything like that. It's just consecutive stays there, going in and out. It all adds up, you know.
It does.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed by 18 at this stage?
Well, when I turned 18, a lot changed, really. I mean, because now the whole juvenile is out of the picture. It's just now it's big boy jail or whatever, and even sometimes you don't even get that chance. Sometimes you get convicted as an adult when you're 15, you know. So
okay, but 18 is what the legal
age.
Yeah.
No more juvenile,
no more kid stuff, huh?
Yeah, no more your parents getting called when you get caught with something or anything like that. That's all on you now.
Yep.
That day.
You got something to add there, Travis?
No.
Okay, man. So, you wanted to be cool and you wanted respect. Now you're in the big league, right?
Yeah, now I'm in the big leagues. And I'm still doing nothing good with my life, really. Still selling drugs. Not too long after I turned 18, I crashed my truck into the Air Force Base out here, all drunk, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a good time.
You were facing a pretty serious charge for domestic violence.
Yeah.
We're going to come back on that because life hasn't been pretty good up to now, and it's going to get worse when you're facing 30 years.
It's only getting better.
But it's going to get better. You're listening to Nuevo Life, and it's a story about incarcerated people who took the wrong turn, maybe didn't get any advice, maybe no one gave a continental about love or a hug now and again, or listen to me, son, or whatever the cause may be. And maybe it's nobody's fault but their own. Maybe they're born bad. Is there such a thing? No. Everybody's born an angel. We all are. But there are circumstances in life that make you take different roads and make different decisions. But ultimately, you own the decisions. don't you, Travis?
Absolutely.
It all comes back to that. You've moved on, community service at 14. Then you spent a year in the Catalina school. Now, how did you get out of an 18.4-year deal? What happened there in your life?
Oh, so that was, you're talking my last charge. It was 88 years I was facing.
See, drugs never entered your mind, right?
No.
Until your 18th birthday. I mean, that's pretty old.
Yeah, I mean, I smoked weed every now and then. Like, I just, drugs weren't my thing. I was a fighter. I was angry. You know, I didn't really drink or do much of that. It was all salts. You know.
Yeah. Isn't it a shame nobody ever said to you, man, come on, let me take you to a boxing gym or something?
Yeah.
You got potential, you know?
Yeah. That was that's always an idea, I guess. You know, my uncle always said that too. We should have just put you in MMA or whatever, boxing or something, you know. But meth didn't come into my life until my 18th birthday. It was actually my birthday. We were celebrating.
You're all doing drugs?
We were doing cocaine and drinking. And
now, you're 18 years of age. Where'd you get the money to buy the cocaine?
Friends. We were all just hanging out, and beer was there, and Coke was there.
Because that always amazes me. If it's so expensive, I'd like to know how they get the money. Do you rob some poor devil's home, or, you know, his car, break the windows? What do you do to get the money?
I mean, eventually, it comes to
do
that.
whatever you can.
Eventually, it comes to
when
that.
you get hooked on it, is that what you mean?
Yeah, you do whatever you can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, at 20, you know, prison again for possession and assault.
Yeah, I had a prohibited possessor and assault. So.
Yeah, you're making wrong choices still, huh?
Yeah, I was.
And poor mom, huh?
Yeah, I put her through a lot.
Yeah, is she still coming to visit you and see you and talking and?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're breaking her heart, right?
I definitely was.
What do you think you were learning all this time? Anything?
At this time, nothing. And all of us men, we do have good intentions, whether it's in county or prison. We eventually, some of us will see that, you know, we're hurting our family. You know, we're going to get out this time and we're going to do good. You know, we're going to be somebody, and we're trapped by the drug. You know?
Do people say that? You genuinely mean it in your heart, mind, body, and soul?
Absolutely.
This time when I get out, I am going to stay straight.
Absolutely. I told myself that every single time I got out, and I would do good for a month or 2 months, and then somehow you're take a drink of beer, and then you're doing coke, and then it's meth, and then whatever.
Now, when you're on parole and all that stuff, you're not allowed to have a beer, are you? Or
no.
Never mind drugs, right?
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Yeah, absolutely.
Do many guys get caught by the parolees, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And back in again. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Not always.
It's more like an addiction you need help with, huh?
Yeah, but there's so many places that try to help or want to help, but ultimately it becomes up to the person. That person.
We're going to get to that, because my question is, we're here also to help in Nuevo Life. Its goal and mission is to help you guys get jobs.
Absolutely.
My question is, if I was to employ you after you're telling me, I try, I'm convinced I'm going to do the right thing no matter what, but you didn't do it again. And then, you know, why can I trust you? How can I trust you and give you a job if you let me down?
No.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to find out about that. But on the last big hit, 22 years you were looking at spending in a federal prison.
Yes.
Now, how on earth did we go from fighting, fists, anger, some, you know, a little bit of snort and a bit of a booze up to bank fraud?
So they were, man, I was on drugs. I was 18, and stolen checks is what was.
Who introduced you to that?
Yeah. Tweakers, people, so-called friends, you know,
So you got to be careful who you mix with.
Yeah,
right?
well, when you're in the drug scene, it's there. You're put in front of it, and then you're an idiot because you're high and you think that it's the smart thing to do, you know, and it's not. It's definitely not. But you don't really see that when you're high.
Now, you had to wear an ankle monitor for 2 years.
Yeah.
How bad is this thing?
The ankle monitor, it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. They've upgraded since I was on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit different, but nowadays it's definitely GPS, and they can track every movement, which for some it's good.
Yep.
For some it is good.
Right.
It keeps that I don't want to say leash, but it keeps that leash on you. It keeps you on a tight leash.
Makes you think twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you didn't have it on, would you go places that could get you down on the downward spiral again? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you did try to go straight, big time. Okay. Moved to Texas with your new wife and 2 sons. How did you meet your wife, and where during all this time?
I actually met her in elementary school.
So it's a school love life.
Yeah. I knew her from elementary all the way through, and we got together in junior high. So we're not together now, but she was with me through a lot of this headache.
Okay.
Eventually, enough got enough. She's
well,
in and out of prison all the time.
People can only take so much.
Yeah.
And you went to Texas really to avoid bad influences too,
Yeah.
You ended up spending 2 years for credit card abuse.
Yep.
And possession again in Texas.
Yep.
Credit card abuse, what happens there?
So up there's a lot different rules. They're a little bit tighter ship, but having somebody's debit card and using it, whether it's gas or a friend or not, it's
right.
You're not on that, so they're gonna charge me. Plus, I had priors. They don't care. So it was easy for them to throw away and just get out of here. You're just another felon.
Just another felon.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Are you another felon, Corey? Are you just another felon?
No, I wouldn't say I am.
Okay, what would you say you are?
A guy that just got caught up in the mix. Wrong place, wrong time.
Well, that could mean I got caught because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or do you mean perhaps I wish I'd never gone down that road?
Yeah, but like Travis said earlier, I wouldn't change anything I've went through at all. I think it kind of built me the person I am. Kind of going through stuff at a young age builds character. Kind of develops you as maybe a more solid adult if you look at it in the right way.
And how old are you now?
22.
22 years of age. You realize that's still super young, right?
Super young, yeah.
Your life hasn't even started,
hasn't
has
even
it?
started, yeah.
Okay. You've got to tell me why I'd hire you. Why would I hire you with all you've done? You say you've learned, but what have you learned?
Learn that it gets old fast. Living like this, with kind of like like eyes on your back, I don't want to live
the rest of your life like this?
Yeah, it gets old.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want to say, man. This is an open show,
I'm 22, but I feel like I'm 30,
So how did Travis come into your life?
I got placed into a halfway house after my sister died, and about 2 weeks after going there, he took over the program, and just kind of at the time I was just giving up. It was really just.
Well, you were facing at one stage an 8 to 27 year sentence for domestic violence, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
That's what the charges would have.
Are we going to say the drugs are what instigated the domestic violence?
I think that they had a little bit of it. I think, but the occurrence wasn't because of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
The situation didn't happen because of drugs, but I don't think drugs helped the situation.
Well, you're not married, and you weren't married.
No.
Felt like so it was a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And usually
my first love.
Well, hey, it usually starts with an argument of some sort.
Yeah.
Right? Or
she was pretty physical. She was high at the time. I got her all coked out, and it turned her into a maniac. And
okay, so at the end of the day, we come right back round again to the drugs, like I said, right?
Yeah.
So the drugs had a lot to do with that particular thing, yeah? Whichever way you look at it. It pays to be honest. If you look back now, you must say to yourself, surely, Cody, gee, I was really into that chick. I liked her a lot. We had a lot, and we had fun when we were straight, maybe. It's a shame it ended up like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
He still talks about her too.
I still talk about her.
He
Yeah,
still talks about her.
Well, first love, man. That's the way it is. So you came out, and then you met. Now let's talk about this. You're in prison, okay? And what was your last stretch? What were you doing?
Not prison. I was in jail. I was in the county jail.
The county jail. That's not called prison.
No.
Okay. We're going to get done on some of these terminologies. For those that don't know, prison is one thing. I guess that's the hard time. That's the real.
Yeah.
That's the big game.
Yep.
Okay, when you're in jail, right?
So you're waiting sentencing, or you
County
just
jail.
got sentenced to
Okay, all
a
right.
certain amount.
You do your prison time. Well, in your case, you did jail.
Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking about when I get out? Where am I going to live?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I still have family to go to? Can I live with them, or am I on my own? What am I going to do?
Yeah, that definitely runs through your head. At the time, I only had my mom out here. Like I said, I moved out here with her, so she's really the only family that I had out here at the time.
What about the guy, though? What about the guy that moved you out here with your mom? He'd gone now?
Oh, yeah, he was out of the picture about 3 years in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that happens to a lot of guys too. Whenever they get out,
Is that right,
they,
Chavis?
they don't have nobody. They don't have nothing. He was lucky enough to have his mother, but really, is it the best place for him?
She couldn't handle you back
Yeah.
home again, really?
I was in a tent in her backyard
Yeah.
when I
see,
got out. It
Okay.
wasn't even in her house. Her
Okay.
boyfriend didn't trust me. So
In a tent in the backyard.
Yeah.
All righty, but you did that. Now,
Did that.
how do you move from a tent then to meet a Travis with a halfway house, as it's called?
my sister had passed, and I dropped dirty for alcohol. I drank while the day after the funeral. I drank a little bit, and
You
I
were pretty
dropped dirty
depressed
for it.
You're pretty depressed on
That's
the,
my
on the
sister.
funeral.
It's the only sister I got. And
Yeah.
I'm left without her.
And was she always kind to you and nice to you?
Yeah, she was my best friend.
She
growing
was your
up.
best friend gone. So, hey, I don't blame you having a drink, but pretty sad about that. And what happened then? What was the next move?
He came to me in Knucklehead.
Well,
Yeah.
who put you on to Travis, for instance?
Well,
You're in a tent at the moment in the backyard.
Yeah, my probation officer put me in the halfway house, and Travis was a part of the halfway house. He's part of the program over there. So I kind of, we linked up, we clicked off. Well, the first day I met him, we actually kind of butted heads, but
Yeah.
But ever since then, we've just been, right on it.
So who's this mysterious Travis? People who are listening would say, well, what's he do? We're going to talk about it in a moment and the wonderful work he does do. But I want to come back to Adrian, because he's not dead yet. He's only had 16 bullets in him. How did that come about, bro?
Well, you know what I'm saying? I was shot 16 times. It was in 3 different occasions. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing drugs and stuff, people are out to get you.
Who?
Enemies. It could be
Other dealers?
It could be other dealers. It could be people just trying to rob you.
Could be dope
It
fiends.
could be dope fiends. It could be even the police.
You knew all this when you took it on, though.
Oh, yeah. I grew up around it. You know what I'm saying? My whole
Okay.
life.
And so what sort of dough could you make in a day or a week? What sort of real money?
Oh, you can make up to hundreds of thousands in a day. You know what I'm saying?
What was your highest you ever made?
Me? I bought my own house when I was 19 years old.
Drug money?
$45,000. You know what I'm saying? It really ain't
That was the
much.
best money you'd ever earned?
All at once. You know what I'm saying?
You risked your life and got shot 16 times, different occasions, because the money was good.
Yeah, the money was real good.
But you didn't think you could do anything else, right?
Well, I knew I could do other stuff. I just didn't want to be wasting my time and
So where
work
are you
hard
at?
for it. you know
So
what I'm
so
saying?
why now? What's changed?
Well,
when you've
now-
earned that sort of money, now I've earned good money, but legally, and it's been very difficult to go back to RS money again. You know what I mean? I can understand that. But what do you do from this when you've been as high as what you have? Excuse the pun, but
With me, it's just that I got so tired of it. Having people looking over my shoulder all the time, trying to kill me.
that does weigh you down?
Trying to kill me and just wore it out, you know what I'm saying? And going to
Unbelievable.
prison all the time and having anybody there for me, you know what I'm saying? My wife left me, you know what I'm saying? The only one that was there for me was my mom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you're young like that and you're doing those types of things, that's the normal life. That's what you've been shown, and that's what you're doing.
It's sort of like it's really all you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
So-
and you count on those people because they're your buds.
yeah, yeah.
And you're in the game. You know, it must be exceptionally hard to break that pattern.
And like I said earlier, you know what I'm saying? When I was younger, I used to play cops and robbers, and I was always a robber.
What's the most frustrating thing for you, do you think, with the whole domestic violence incident that you went through, Adrian?
Well, my incident was my domestic violence was with my daughter, you know what I'm saying? She had barely turned 18. She was about to graduate, and she tried to come home with a 50-year-old man, 49-year-old man, you know what I'm saying, trying to introduce me to him like if that was her boyfriend.
Yeah?
Yeah, so to me, you know what I'm saying, hit me and it got me angered, you know what I'm saying, and I told her.
Was the gentleman Hispanic?
I didn't even get to meet him because I told him if we would bring him to my house that I was going to shoot him, you know what I'm saying, and with my background, my daughter called the cops on me. Hey, my dad's going to kill my boyfriend, and
well, I feel for you on that. I mean, it's very hard. It's ridiculous. How old is she?
She barely had turned 18 when all this
Barely
happened.
18 with a 49-year-old man.
High school.
People are still in high school.
In
People
high
could
school.
say, hey, it's her own life. It's her own business. I think a dad would want to have something to say here.
Yeah,
You
as
know,
a father, you're
as
gonna.
a father, you know what I'm saying, and I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not saying the courts are wrong or whatever.
So you got into a blue with her, an argument, all right? What happened?
With an argument with her.
Then what? She called you names, maybe?
I threatened her. I said, if you bring that guy to my house, he's going to end up dead. You know what I'm saying? And just from there, with my background.
But did you mean that when you think about it?
At the moment, I did.
At that time?
Because she's my little princess. That's my only daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it hit me real hard.
But
like,
you could have got life.
yeah, I was looking at 35 years right now just for this domestic violence with my daughter because all the stuff I've been through.
So what did you do? You weighed into her, did
priors.
you? You weighed into her, is that it? She kept arguing with you, called you names, and you what? Slapped her around?
No, I didn't even slap her or nothing.
In Tucson-
I threatened her, and I broke the window in my house, and she ended
But you
up,
never laid a hand
I
on
never
her.
laid a hand on her, so they got me for domestic
No,
violence.
if the cops are called on domestic violence, it doesn't matter. Somebody has to go to jail and be charged with it. Nobody has to be hit. You could be yelling and screaming.
I don't agree with that.
You could just break
That's-
her phone, and it's domestic violence.
It's a domestic
Yeah,
violence.
I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. I think that one needs looking at.
And that's the reason
You lay a hand on it, it's another story, you know.
Yeah.
But I think if you walk in the backyard and smash your own bloody window in or do something or other, you know.
And one thing I did do, that's maybe another thing that they did put me on IPS because I did got in an argument with my wife. You know what I'm saying? And
Over
she
the
was
same
trying to,
thing?
yeah, it was over
Yeah.
the same thing, and she tried to hold me. She didn't want to let me leave because I told her, you know what, I'm leaving then. I'm leaving. She just didn't want to let me leave, so she got on the doorway, and I did grab from the neck to tell her to move, to throw her, and I ended up scratched because one of my hands don't work.
Right.
Because I got shot on my arm. So I had the nails long at the time because I
Yes.
can't cut them. So I ended up scratching her there, but it wasn't nothing like a slap or a hit. It was just because she was getting on the doorway, and I was trying to get out of the house because I was so pissed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me leave.
Did you try and find out where this guy lived, who he was?
No, I ended up going to jail that same night.
Same night.
My daughter called the cops when I was sleeping, and they ended
Was
up-
she sorry she did it
I haven't spoken to them
since then?
since that
And
incident.
how many years ago was that?
It was just last year.
Okay, but it must weigh you down.
I
You'd
do
have every
think
chance
I
to-
think about my wife and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Of course I do.
Yeah, but with your daughter, you know, if you had it all over again, what you'd like to say to her, you know? Surely she
That I
realizes
love
you
her.
were just trying to protect her.
That I love her, and I was just trying to protect my princess.
Yeah, but even so. So why would any potential employer take a chance on you, Adrian?
Well, I really changed a lot. As you can see, my little story, you know what I'm saying? I've been through a lot. And it's just, I got tired of the lifestyle. I got tired of being in prison, tired of looking over my shoulders. I got tired of people not wanting to hang around with me because of the way I was. I was carrying guns and dope, and someone would look at me ugly.
Did prison do anything for you inside?
Inside, it just, I don't know. I guess in my mentality, it made me stronger, but it just wore me out. Like,
You weren't
getting
convinced by
sad.
other prisoners to go crook when you got out and be,
Oh, I always
you know,
have that, and
because that happens, doesn't
and
it?
to this
Oh,
day,
yeah.
I see people and people that I know, and I just try to stay away from them, and I tell them straight out, you know, I'm over this already. I'm retired. I don't do none of this no more.
I don't want to know.
From me.
Get away
Yeah.
from you. Besides, you're not allowed to mix with them, are you?
Nah. We can't mix around with them because we're on IPS and stuff like that. But you know, you see them when you go to the store or something, and hey,
You're always gonna run into.
yeah,
old
you end up
people.
running into people that you know.
29 years of age, Travis. You got charged with chop shop. What's that? Knocking off cars and
Yeah, and
fixing them up so you could resell them.
stealing them and cutting them up.
How old were you? 29.
I was 29.
That's, man, you hadn't learned up till
Roughly
then, huh?
29, yeah.
You were bonded out 7 days and 7 felonies later, which included gun charges. What on earth happened there?
Yeah, I got bonded out, and I I was a drug addict. So in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to commit another felony to help pay for a lawyer, because I was planning on they were going to send me away for a while. I've been doing this for a long time, and in and out of prison, in and out of county.
Yeah.
So they were going to be fed up. So in my head,
Which is totally drug whacked, and you're not thinking straight at all,
you
right?
Go commit another felony so you can get some money, and then you do it, and that's
It's
what
to
I
pay the
did.
lawyers. Now, when you say 7 days and 7 felonies,
So I came back. So I got bonded out, and 7 days later, I was arrested for 7 more felonies
that you committed in that week,
that I committed.
how do they know it was you?
I got caught.
Oh, well, fair enough then.
Yeah.
You were looking at some pretty serious long time.
Yeah, I was
88 years.
88 years. Yes, from being on bond in the chop shop and my priors.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
They were done. They were fed up.
You're in county for 10 months. You
my
created
case.
more sober days.
Yes, more sober days. It was I went to. They have programs in there, and they were stupid. They weren't helping nobody. It was basically just sitting around and doing nothing in county jail. And to me, it wasn't doing.
Yeah, we're
what I
going to
felt
do
like
another
it
show
should.
another day about this, of what goes on inside and the waste of time and
Yeah.
what could be done. You'd prefer to be working, right?
Yeah.
And get paid for the damn thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bottom line here is, mate, you did the 2.5 years, and you got out of that real good because Mum stepped up again and got the best of the best for you, right? The hired help, and you were very, very fortunate. You were blessed in a lot of ways, Travis, but you got out, you stayed clean, you washed dishes for 2 years.
Yes. While I was on IPS.
Yeah, and you did it, and you stuck with it no matter what. Demeaning job to a degree for some. You did it, and you were determined. This was the first big thing for you. Then your aunt introduced you to an ex-con that owned a halfway house. He gave you a shot. He hired you. And from then on, miracles have been happening. Tell us what you do and what you run and how you help our friends coming out of jail and out of prison.
Yes, I get men from county to prison to off the streets. Anybody that needs help, I feel deserve a chance because I've been in their shoes. So I will give them a place. Of course, they got to pay. They got to. I'll help them find a job if they need a job. Mentor them. Cody Willingham and a couple of my guys. They'll. That's what I do. You know, if I can relate, and if they want somebody to talk to, I'm there. You know, if they want to call me in the middle of the night, they can call me. You know, and I'll help with whatever I can, whether it's a ride to probation, whether it's whatever it is, I'm going to do my best to complete it, to help these men change. So, and the first step was always the job. The job holds people back so much.
Do any of them come out? Cody, were you ever thinking that you'd like to learn a trade maybe when you got out?
Yeah, not necessarily when I got out, but I've kind of already had my mind set on a couple traits I'd like to do.
Okay. So first thing is first, though, you had to live somewhere, right? You got to be able to afford to live.
Yeah, you got to be established.
You got to be established and be able to do and try and go from there, right?
Yeah.
And have you tried the old door knocking, Adrian? Have you tried to go to people for jobs, and once you show them your past, it's no?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just automatically, they see me with tattoos and stuff like that sometimes. And they just,
Yeah, tats are difficult,
It's just,
but these days, I mean, even girls are wearing tats everywhere, and they can go and put them on in an afternoon.
Oh, yeah, but the prison,
it's still
prison
there.
tattoos are different than street
Yeah.
tattoos.
Yeah, they look a little different.
Okay. But you've had the experience, is what I want to know. What I'm getting at is of trying to do the right thing and get a job. Okay? Get a job and just stay straight.
Oh, yeah.
And try and have a nice, nuevo, new life.
And I recommend people to do that. You know what I'm saying? My whole life changed after all that. I met Travis here. You know what I'm saying? My PO sent me there with him, and he helped me out a lot.
Travis, how these, they're called what, a halfway house?
Yeah, or transitional living.
Transitional living.
Yeah.
And what else are they called?
They call them. They have.
Is it it's not affordable.
No. Affordable.
It's a
something
separate
else.
mix again, right? Because
Yeah,
some people have said, "Oh, well, yeah, well, that's affordable living." No, it's not.
They also call them like sober living.
Okay.
So they have different.
And the sober represents drugs or booze.
Yeah.
Not just booze,
Yeah, 'cause
right? Okay.
I firmly believe in no drugs on my facility at all. Period.
Okay. So you're like a manager, really.
Yeah, director.
A director, like a project
manager.
director.
Yeah.
So a particular establishment is a project, we'll say. And these different projects are what? They could be, how many rooms? How many apartments? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so, well, it depends on the facility you have. This one it's an apartment complex, and I got 13 apartments, and the men will come in, and whether or not probation, parole, I usually try to keep them separate because they got different mentalities, but, it just depends. So there's about 4 or 5 guys in each room.
Okay. And it can be single family, like residential houses too?
Now, I have a step-up program that I'll help them get into an apartment.
Okay.
After 90 days, I try to get them, because that's another big thing, is that nobody will rent to us.
And that's actually what Travis did for me.
He
got me an apartment, and I live by myself now. And like I said, life's good. I live good now.
See,
I met Travis.
It's all because you have a chance.
Yeah,
now, if you
man, I'm
didn't
glad I
have
met
that
him.
and you never had that living
I would have never
scenario,
had my apartment.
What would you do? You'd be in the street, the car, or you'd hang out
Probably
again?
be at my mom's, hanging out in the front yard with all the drug addicts around there selling drugs.
A vicious cycle.
Same
Go
to
back
my
again.
back life.
Same old.
Same life.
My credit to you all, guys. You got guts, and I wish you all the luck in the world. And I thank you for being in our inaugural show and telling it like it is. We want anybody listening who's thinking of going down any track that Cody went down, Adrian, Travis for that matter, think twice. What would you tell them, Cody, in closing the show now for our first one, winding up? What's your little piece of advice, mate?
If I'm giving advice to the younger crowd, I'd say just don't grow up too fast. Kind of take advantage of being a kid. You only get it once, so don't ruin it getting high.
And you, Adrian?
Well, what I would like to say to people is, come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? We're getting older here. This ain't the life to be living. Life is very good. You just got to get a hold of it. Don't let the drug get a hold of you.
And Travis?
Love life and love people. And it's great. Whenever you're on the right track, it just love it. Love it.
If you'd like to get in touch with Travis Moore, by all means, you can go to this platform where you're hearing the show. It's TucsonBusinessRadioX.com. And there is a voicemail recorder on the front of the site. And I'll get your message, and I'll make sure Travis contacts you. In the interim, thanks a lot. Thanks for staying with us, and thanks for helping out. And the very first Nuevo Life. And we'll be back soon.
Any comments, questions, or suggestions for Nuevo Life can be left on the web voicemail recorder on TucsonBusinessRadioX.com. Thank you for your support.